He promised to do politics differently, but now he's prepared to sell Canadians out in a coalition with the NDP. Time and time again, Trudeau has proven that he is simply not as advertised.
Good morning, Christy Kirkup with the Globe and Mail. Warren Kinsella was apparently hired to do your party's dirty work in attacking Maxime Bernier with the condition that the contract wouldn't be traced back to the Conservatives. How do you think the public will perceive this?
We don't make comments on vendors that we may or may not have engaged with.
So to that end, did your party hire Mr. Kinsella to attack the Liberals?
As I said, we don't make comments on vendors that our party may or may not have engaged with.
Did you, yes or no, did you hire Mr. Kinsella?
As a rule, we never make comments on vendors that we may or may not have engaged with.
Bonjour, Monsieur Scheer. Sur Monsieur Kinsella, est-ce que c'est vrai que votre parti a engagé Monsieur Kinsella pour seek and destroy, pour détruire Maxime Bernier?
Notre parti, nous n'offrons pas des commentaires sur les contrats qu'on peut, on a ou on n'a pas.
Est-ce que c'est vrai?
Mais on ne fait pas des commentaires sur les contrats qu'on a ou on n'a pas. On ne fait pas des commentaires.
Pourquoi?
C'est un enjeu interne du parti. On ne fait pas des commentaires si on a ou si on n'a pas.
Filion de TVA. Bonjour, M. Scheer. Sur la même veine, vous reprochez à M. Trudeau de manquer de transparence. Pourquoi n'êtes-vous pas transparent par rapport à ce dossier-là? Avez-vous, oui ou non, embauché une firme pour détruire le parti de M. Bernier?
On ne fait pas des commentaires sur les contrats qu'on a ou qu'on n'a pas. It's the role of the Prime Minister to address all issues that affect all Canadians, that affect all provinces in a way that brings our country closer together.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Olivia Stefanovich with CBC News. Have you and or your party hired Warren Kinsella's firm to do anything this election campaign?
So as a rule, we don't make comments on vendors that we may or may not have contracts with.
Why can't you be transparent about that?
It's just we don't offer comments on contracts that may or may not exist, on vendors that we may or may not have a relationship with.
Glenn McGregor, CTV News. Mr. Scheer, you say you want to restore ethics to government, you want to be transparent. I find it astounding that you can't answer that basic question about whether you hired this company or not. Why does the great privacy or secrecy about this? Why can't you be transparent with Canadians about this contract?
As a general rule, when it comes to
what's the
party
general rule?
matters,
What is the general rule?
when it relates to party matters, we don't comment on contracts we may or may not have with vendors.
Why?
It's we don't offer comments. We
That's
don't make
not
comments
acceptable,
on
Mr. Scheer. You
contracts
should be able to
that may or
answer
may
this
not
question.
exist.
You should be transparent about
Well,
this. Why can't you answer this question?
When it comes to internal party matters, when it comes to contracts that may or may not exist, we don't offer comment.
Mr. Scheer, is it ethical for a party in the middle of an election campaign to hire a skullduggery firm to potentially dig up dirt on an opponent? And if the Liberal Party did this, would you be demanding transparency from them?
Well, we're not going to make comments on contracts that may or may not exist.
I'm not asking about a contract. I'm asking about the principle of digging up dirt on your opponent and hiring a firm to do it secretly.
And I said we're not going to make comments on contracts that may or may not exist or with vendors that we may or may not have.
So Warren Kinsella, if it's true your party hired him, was also responsible for spreading misinformation and encouraging misinformation around Justin Trudeau's time at West Point Grey Academy. Your party put out a press release basically encouraging those rumors. Should people infer that it's possible that your party helped spread misinformation and work with him to do so?
We have been very open and clear with Canadians about exactly what we are going to offer as a government. We will lower their taxes. We will lower their taxes. We will put more money in their pocket. We will get back to balanced budgets over a responsible period of time. On the contrary, what they don't have from Justin Trudeau is a clear explanation of what an NDP Liberal coalition would look like, which taxes he would raise to pay for the NDP's promises. That's what Canadians have a right to know in the next few days before Election Day.
So throughout this campaign, you have talked a lot about Justin Trudeau losing the moral authority to govern. Through the last 2 days, you have put out a lot of assumptions without any proof. And today you're not answering a question, which is a very simple one, over whether or not Warren Kinsella was hired by the Conservatives. What do you say to Canadians that you lack the moral authority since you cannot answer these basic questions?
We have always been open and transparent with Canadians as to what we will do as government, and that's exactly what we're going to continue to do. We're going to show Canadians in the next few days exactly which taxes we are going to lower to leave more money in their pockets so they can get ahead. And that is in stark contrast to Justin Trudeau, who has an uncosted platform, who only half of his platform commitments have PBO costing behind it. And he is refusing to come clean onto what types of arrangements he will work with the NDP, which taxes he will increase, or which projects he would kill in order to earn NDP support. I note again Mr. Singh is talking about canceling the Trans Mountain pipeline as a condition. A star Liberal candidate is saying that there will never be another pipeline built under a Liberal government. He needs to be open and transparent with Canadians about that before Monday, before Canadians go to the polls. Oh, as a rule, we don't make comments on contracts that may or may not exist or vendors that we may or may not have.
Katie Simpson, CBC News. Mr. Scheer, you're standing here and you're refusing to deny that your party hired Warren Kinsella to dig up dirt on your opponents. At best, you're peddling in misinformation when you attack the Liberals about planning to legalize hard drugs and planning to implement a secret tax on the sale of their houses. And yesterday, you completely fabricated a claim that the Liberals and the NDP would raise the GST with absolutely zero proof to back that up. On October 22nd, when you wake up, how comfortable are you with the campaign you have run?
So first of all, of course, I disagree with much of with your premise. It is quite clear that Liberals will have to raise taxes to pay for their deficits. That is as night follows day. Taxes go up when deficits are allowed to balloon and last for so long. And when you look at the fact that the Canada Revenue Agency has started to collect information on the sale of primary residences, and when you look at the fact that this is something that a senior-ranking Liberal MP was advocating for, when you look at the fact that this was a policy item that was suggested, it is reasonable for Canadians to worry about Justin Trudeau breaking promises or doing things that he said he wouldn't do during election campaigns, because we saw that in 2015 and we saw how that turned out. What I'm saying to Canadians today is that under an NDP Liberal coalition, those deficits will balloon and taxes will have to go up to pay for it. If it's not the GST, it's up to Justin Trudeau to say which taxes it will be. But it is clear, in order to pay for the NDP promises, Justin Trudeau will have to raise taxes. He has the obligation to tell Canadians which taxes he will raise.
Are you comfortable with the campaign you've run?
Every morning we have gotten up and we have put forward a positive platform offering hope and opportunity for Canadians, helping to make their life less expensive, more affordable, helping Canadians achieve their goals and aspirations. And I'm very confident that as we get to work to implement our tax cuts, our policies that will lead to more jobs, greater economic growth, a better quality of life, I will be very excited to implement that, and Canadians will be very excited about the money that will be returned to their pockets. In contrast, Canadians know that an NDP Liberal coalition will balloon that deficit and raise taxes to pay for it. And again, it's up to Justin Trudeau today to explain exactly which taxes he is going to raise to pay for the NDP's promises.
But just one last follow-up, Mr. Scheer. What is the rule that you have here that you can't say which contractors you're working with?
We just don't comment on the contracts that we may or may not have.
Is it a rule you just made up?
We don't make comments on contracts that we may or may not have or vendors that we may or may not have engaged with.
And again, one of my colleagues asked if Liberal leader Justin Trudeau had said that, would you accept that answer?
It's we don't make comment on contracts that we may or may not have. Thanks very much, everyone. Merci beaucoup. On ne lâche pas.